Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So I know I said that I am taking until the middle of May off. Technically, I still am, but due to some contractual obligations, which is fine, I have to post like a couple videos this month, and I was planning on making these anyways, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. I just pushed them forward a little bit, and quite honestly, I was feeling a little bit bored. So I'm okay with filming these two silly little videos because this one and the next one are just going to be about things going on TikTok. And so, yeah, or things that have happened on TikTok. Literally, like I've said in pretty much all my videos in the last couple months, ignore everything happening back here. I beg, I plead, desperately need to do laundry. Don't worry about it. There's been a lot going on. Today, we're going to be talking about what happened like a few weeks ago with the TikTok creator Leo Skepi and his views on fashion and plus size fashion and plus sizes in fashion. But before we get into today's video, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Scentbird. Now, Scentbird is a longtime friend of the channel, and one thing about me is that I love perfume. I love trying new perfumes, but I simply cannot justify spending so much money on one bottle of a scented liquid that might not even work with my body chemistry once I start wearing it. So if you are the same way, then Scentbird is the perfect option for you because it is a fragrance subscription service that lets you choose a new designer fragrance every single month for just $17. Scentbird offers affordable and flexible subscription plans, and something that's really important to me is that you get to pick which fragrances you get which fragrance you get every month, so there are no surprises. So it's like guaranteed you are going to want to try the one that you're getting. I've been working on the last box that they sent me, which included Vieri by Mind Games, Daisy Oh So Fresh by Marc Jacobs, and Pomelo by Joe Loves. Vieri by Mind Games, she's gone. She's done. She's empty. I used her. I love that fragrance so much. I want to get the full size, but a full size is $300. So I think I'm probably just going to stick with my Scentbird samples because these are pretty big and like these last me a long time. They say they're a 30-day sample, but honestly, I think they can last longer than that. Hi, re-recording the voiceover for this part because I screwed some stuff up. But if you're interested in giving Scentbird a whirl, be sure to use the link down in my description and my code Megan55OFF for 55% off your first month. Thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring today's video. And as always, thank you to you guys for like continuing to interact with my content and support my content so that brands like Scentbird want to keep working with me because it literally helps me more and means more to me than you will ever know. So yeah, thank you. Now let's get back into the video. So time out just for some brief housekeeping before we get into everything else that we're going to be talking about. I want to talk about things that actually matter. And not saying that this conversation with Leo does not matter, but there are things going on right now that matter, in my opinion, much more. I have spoken about how much I am very much a supporter of a free Palestine. I just want to draw attention to the protests that are happening across the country right now on college campuses, because I think what these students are doing is just incredible, and this is one of the only times I think I have enjoyed watching history unfold in my lifetime, because as anybody who's around my age knows, we've been going through that pretty much our entire lives. This generation of students is like not too far behind me. I'm 27. They haven't known a peaceful education ever. I think the fact that they are using their voices still in such a huge way is incredible. And I just wanted to shed some light on it because it has been so inspiring and emotional to watch. And I think what is happening to them is abhorrent. I think how their universities are treating them is abhorrent. I think the people who are having their graduations canceled is so sad for using their voice in a perfectly legal way on their college campuses. I just wanted to say that I, as always, free Palestine, but also I stand in solidarity with all of these kids because what they are doing is truly incredible and is really going to be going in the history books and has been just magical to watch, honestly. And there are some links that I will have down below as well to help aid them in whatever ways they need. And yeah, I just wanted to draw some attention to that because I'm filming this on April 26th. And so this is all very new and it's been going on for like a week-ish. And yeah, I just want to say the way that these kids have organized and what they are doing is incredible. And yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there because I have not had a normal education experience at all. And they're continuing to just make it even more abnormal to make their voices heard. I think it's impeccable. Yeah, anyways, let's get back into the cheesy internet drama. But I just wanted to touch on that first because it's really important to me. And yeah, so, okay, let's get into it. If you don't know who Leo Skepi is, he is a content creator who gained popularity on TikTok, but also has like a podcast and has gone on tour for kind of like public speaking. He primarily makes like general lifestyle content with a focus on motivational speaking, as well as things regarding like fashion and clubbing and stuff like that. I don't think this will really matter in the context of what we're talking about today, but he is a gay man also, and he's very open about that on his platform as well. He talks in his content and just on podcasts and stuff like that about how he has also lost quite a bit of weight himself, and he is very into personal fitness and nutrition and talks a lot about that in his own content. And apparently he is an RN or was an RN. So yeah. And this guy, he has a huge following on TikTok, like a huge following on TikTok. And so for him to come out with this video seemingly kind of out of nowhere was very weird. And so he came out with a video on TikTok saying this.
Making your size in something does not give you grounds to talk shit and degrade the brand. Brands are allowed to want a certain look and image with their products. They are allowed to make things for the people they want to make them for. I've been seeing too many people talking shit recently, and it's pissing me off. People are allowed to have preferences, and brands are allowed to create an image with what they want and have a specific type of person wear what they have. Not everybody needs to be catered to by everything and everyone. And this is a lesson I had to learn when I was fucking fat. I used to think clothes just weren't flattering. Okay, the body wasn't fucking flattering, but a lot of brands don't make my size in a lot of shit still. And if a piece of clothing is not flattering on you, it doesn't mean the item or product is not flattering or is not good. It's not made for you. I'm a size 16 shoe. A lot of brands don't make my size. Do I waste my time and lend my energy and focus to what I don't want and what I can't have and attacking brands for not making my fucking size? No. Every single human being is very powerful. You have to be careful with where you put your attention and your focus. For you to stick your attention and your energy on what doesn't work for you, what is not made for you, and what brands don't want you to wear their fucking shit, you're never gonna have mental space to think and look for and discover brands that are made for you. You can't keep focusing on what you don't want and find what you do want. Get your fucking attention off of the shit that's not for you and the things you don't like. I'm never gonna find my size in shoes that I like if all I'm doing is sitting here crying how most brands only go to a 13. Fuck them. I'm gonna go buy the shoes that go to my size. But key point here, if my focus is nothing but stuck on the brands that don't make my size, I'm gonna feel nothing but frustrated, irritated, singled out, and pissed off. That's a waste of your energy. Being a human being is a very valuable experience, and it's a very precious thing. Don't waste your fucking time on the shit that's not for you. Don't let useless nonsense irritate you. I know social media has a big fucking mental illness of its own with contributing to people lacking perspective of what really fucking matters. Clothes not being in every single person's size is very, very minute and a very minuscule thing compared to what else is going on in the world. Maybe go the fuck outside and go experience some real contrast and see what other people are really dealing with and living with, and you might be a little more appreciative of your situation and the fact that you can go find other shit that does fit you. Brands are allowed to do what they want. I'm not saying they're right or wrong for discriminating. They're gonna do it. You bitching about it is gonna do nothing but ruin your emotional state and your mental state. That's what I want to protect you from. I gotta be a little harsh to you because I love you. But get your fucking focus off the shit that ain't for you so you can find what is.
So I'm going to get into my thoughts on his thoughts after I kind of give you a rundown of what happened. So after he posted this, naturally the internet lost its collective shit. And I have not seen like a crossover amongst like different niches of TikTok to go after one video, I think honestly as much as I'd seen with this one. Because I was seeing like people that I talk about in the fat activism realm. I was seeing other very, very big TikTok creators talking about this. And yeah, and also Samira, who I think I've talked about on here. I'm not entirely sure if I have, but she is like a very prominent fat activist on TikTok, and she talks a lot about plus size fashion and the state of it now and all of that. That's like a big part of her brand. I'm pretty sure she has a whole song about it because she's a musician. But she was a very big contributor to the conversation surrounding this TikTok as well. And so I'm going to I'll put some of the reaction TikToks in here, mostly from Samira, but I'll try and find a few others as well.
A brand not making your size in something does not give you grounds to talk shit and degrade the brand. Brands are allowed to want a certain look and image with their products. They are allowed to make things for the people they want to make them for. I've been seeing too many people talking shit recently, and it's pissing me off. People are allowed to have preferences, and brands are allowed to create an image with what they want and have a specific type of person wear what they have. Not everybody needs to be catered to by everything and everyone. And this is a lesson I had to learn when I was fucking fat. I used to think clothes just weren't flattering. No, babe, the body wasn't fucking flattering. But a lot of...
If a brand not making my size doesn't give me grounds to talk shit or degrade them, then why am I still in their mission statement? Why do they call themselves size inclusive, even though they stop at an XXL? Why do they say they make clothes for everybody, even though they stop at a size 20? Why do they say that they empower all women when they stop at an XL? Do riddle me that. And I think this whole conversation is about audacity. But you seem to have more of a problem with my audacity as a fat person than brands' audacities to take our confidence, our joy, and use it to sell mediums and larges. And you think that I need to be a medium or a large before I deserve to feel fashionable, to feel confident. This is all about audacity. And there is no issue when it comes to other conversations of inclusion, but plus size clothing is where you're drawing a line. And that's very telling. But do let me tell you, and tell everybody else, that I will continue to let brands know that if you're going to include me in the mission statement, you will also include me in the size chart.
It's just like a very freaky take because like, why do you care so much? I think it's clear that the people that care more about talking about how brands need to be more inclusive are people that don't get the luxury to wear those clothes that we wish that we could wear. But one thing I feel like that he thought that he like said that was like amazing, that like literally is so opposite of the truth, and I can truly say that by experience, is that no, by calling out these brands and by saying that there are so many people out there that like want to buy, have the money to buy the clothes, want to wear these exact clothes that you could just take a little bit more time to make the exact clothes. We don't want different clothes. We don't want frumpy different. We don't need a new style. Same exact clothes, just make them a little bigger. Just give us some more options. The more we talk about these things, hello, what happened for me 3 years ago? These brands actually started listening because I was calling them out. And yes, did I do it in an appropriate way? I don't think I was bashing the brands, but I call these brands out saying like, I want to wear your clothes too. Hello, do you see me over here? And like letting them be aware that there's a lot of us that also would like to purchase their clothes. And what happened? I ended up being the face for Victoria's Secret Pink and helping them with their size inclusivity. Did that work out amazing? No, maybe not amazing after 2 years because maybe their priorities were in other places, but they let me in the door. I did my best. I was able to speak my mind in those board meetings and say how I felt. Then what did I do? I created Revolve's first brand that was above an XL going up to a 4X. First went up to a 3X. People complained. I realized that was not good enough and we got it to go to a 4X. I've done a lot of behind the scenes work that people haven't seen that I'm still pushing for from just getting in the rooms with these people because I spoke about it loudly on TikTok and Instagram. If I didn't make a video, if I didn't ever say my frustration online, and if I didn't talk about how these brands need to do better, I would have never been able to make that change. I would have never been able to get in the door. No one knew my name, and no one knew who I was. So how else would I have done that? And I was wondering why this person made this video, and then when I watched the whole thing, I realized that this person was actually a lot bigger in the past and now has lost weight. All I have to say about that, and I feel very passionate about this, is you can do whatever you want with your body. It's no one's business. Do what you want with it. The only thing I have a hard time with is if your body fluctuates and then your thoughts and things that you're putting out in the world change with your body. I think a lot of people forget that when I first came on this platform, I actually was a lot smaller than I am now. And my body has fluctuated from gaining, losing weight so much in the past 3.5 years that people have seen online. But then you're also forgetting that before I was on this platform, which was only for 3.5 years, my body has fluctuated so much before then too. My point is that no matter what, from what my body was before this platform, what it is now, what it was when I started, whatever, I've always had the same thoughts about this industry and size inclusivity. No matter what, I've always thought that everyone should be able to wear the same clothes. Why is it cut off at a certain point? And why do other people, just because their body looks different, not have the opportunity to wear the same exact clothes that are in the fashion world that these brands have? Why? There shouldn't be separation. There shouldn't be names. There shouldn't be plus size, mid size, straight size, this, different parts of the website, different parts of the store. We should just all be able to wear the same clothes. It's that simple. And no matter what size I am, I will always, and I promise you, always have the same mindset, regardless of me and my body. My mind will always have the same mindset that yes, brands should be doing more, brands should be more inclusive, and I will always fight and use my voice to hope that happens.
After he saw the backlash that he was getting for this video, he came out with a response video, which I will put here.
All right, to hit this properly, the ego is checked at the door. I got some shit to own up to. I deleted the video because it does the opposite of what I want to do. It made a lot of people feel unsafe with me, and that's the last thing that I want. So this is not gonna be a sappy apology video and be manipulative to try and win anybody over. This all made me realize the time in my life when I was overweight actually does trigger the fuck out of me. And it's not the body and the way that I looked that triggered me. It's the painful mindset I was stuck in that I do not want to be reminded of. My whole childhood and early adulthood, I felt very trapped and powerless in a body and a mind that I hated. It wasn't my physical appearance, I thought it was. It was really feeling like I had no control over my life and what that perception did to me. And now whenever I feel powerless, I say jarring shit to myself to snap me out of an old mentality and look for empowerment. But me sharing that in the fucked up way that I did was to help a lot of you, and it ended up hurting a lot more of you instead because you feel like I judge you for the way that you look. It also made a lot of people feel like I was judging them for wanting to feel included. That's not what I stand for at all. I never want anyone to feel uncomfortable or unsafe around me, ever. But the way that I said things in that video made a lot of you feel disempowered and criticized instead of feeling like I was looking out for you. And that's always my actual intent, and that don't sit right with me. So the video's gone. But not finding my size in things is something I deal with daily. I'm 6'7" and a size 16 shoe. Clothes are a pain in the ass. Shoes, rarely ever find. Bags, the strap rarely long enough. Doesn't fit over my body. But that's a situation for me that makes me feel very powerless is when my size is not made. And like I said, I stay triggering shit to myself to look for the control I do have when I'm looking at things that make me feel disempowered. And when a brand doesn't make my size, I look at it like saying, fuck them, versus giving them my attention and begging them to include me or bullying them to include me. It's 2024. These brands know that people come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. They're aware. They're choosing not to make certain things. Either it's a financial decision or it's an attempt to actually exclude you. But my personal relationship to that is feeling disempowered and not giving any of my attention to it. But not everybody has my same relationship to this scenario or the same relationship to feeling powerless. And I don't like that my shit made a lot of people feel hurt. That's my thing to deal with. Everybody is allowed to freely speak their mind. Shouldn't have said that because I was doing it in that video. But the thing I should have communicated better was I find my power in absence. So I'm not gonna give attention to the brands who don't cater to me. I'm gonna go find the brands and focus on the ones that do, or make my own stuff when I can. With all this being said, my aversion to powerlessness and my own relationship to it and my poor communication of that made a lot of you think that I have an aversion to you because of the way that you look. And I wanna make sure everyone knows that is 100% not true. I actually do wanna say thank you to everyone who voiced their opinion and told me how hurt you were by this because it really made me reflect. When people say I'm hurt
That's my wake-up call of like, you did something, because that's never my intent. So instead of sitting here and saying I'm sorry, because those are just words and they don't do anything for anybody, I'm gonna give you my word that I'm gonna continue to do any work necessary to make sure that you always know and feel that I'm looking out for you and I'm here to protect you.
And honestly, I think in the grand scheme of responses to, or just, I think in the grand scheme of getting such a slew, like, because I could not go on TikTok without seeing this video talked about at least like 3 different times. More than that, honestly. And so I think given the amount of pushback that he got, I think this was a pretty good response. It wasn't really like an apology, but I feel like it was a good response in the grand scheme of things. And so I just wanted to talk about this. I don't really have like a whole lot of notes because it's more just like kind of off the cuff for me, because I had a lot of thoughts and feelings when this all first unfolded, specifically as someone who has been kind of like a casual fan of Leo for a while. Side note, I was looking into Leo a little bit more while I was editing this video, and the Do We Know Them podcast uncovered some very interesting clips from him in the past. And so I don't know if I still support him as a creator. My thoughts on this video still stand and are still accurate, and like I don't know, I still stand by my opinions on the original video that we were talking about, but like now, I don't know, but I will link that down below if you want to go watch it. But he says some very scary things about unaliving other people and unaliving himself. But what he says about the other people is very jarring. So yeah, but I'll have all that linked down below if you'd like to go do your independent research. I'm not going to put it in here, but it's out there. So good luck, and trigger warning if you do go watch it. Okay, bye. So I have, and I've talked about this before, I'm a big nerd about fashion. Like, I love fashion. I actually wanted to like work in fashion for a really long time before I decided to eventually go into graphic design. But I would love to wind up in a fashion-based graphic design job. Like, that would be incredible. I have been a big nerd about fashion and the fashion world for a very long time. But growing up fat and then becoming an adult, and even when I lost weight, I was still very much like not in the like normal sizes that a lot of like higher end fashion caters to, which is fine because I can't afford it anyways. But like, it was always kind of disheartening and I'm going to high end fashion here because Leo shops in high-end fashion a lot. And so I don't know if that is who he was talking about in his original video, was like high-end fashion brands. Like, he shops at Versace a lot. He shops at Balenciaga a lot, which if you know anything about Balenciaga is problematic in itself. But it was always kind of disheartening for me as a young kid, like knowing that even if I could afford it at some point, which was always a pipe dream, I probably wouldn't be able to wear like designer clothes. And so I became a big nerd about like handbags and the accessories and all that kind of stuff. So I'm a big nerd about fashion. I'm a big nerd about plus sizes in fashion, specifically like the luxury fashion industry, and just the history of plus size fashion. And I'm actually thinking about making a full like history lesson video on that topic. So if you would like to see that, please let me know down below. Similar to like my body or my fad diet video, that kind of thing, but about plus size fashion in the fashion industry. I feel like when it came to this video, a lot of people took it as Leo being like, fat people don't deserve nice clothes. And the way in which he conveys his message, I can totally understand how people took it the way that they did. Like, I absolutely can understand that. I can understand how this video was taken that way, and I can also understand the pushback that it got, because I do think that more size inclusivity in stores is a very important thing to talk about, specifically like in store, because some stores don't go up to more than like an extra large or something like that, and then you have to get the plus sizes online, which I've always thought has been so backwards, because like anybody should be able to try stuff on. I think in terms of luxury fashion, I think the likelihood that we will ever see plus sizes be readily available in luxury fashion is very slim. Because the fashion industry has always been extremely fat phobic. Like, it's just how it's been. And I'm not saying that that's okay, but I think there's a lot more, because it's also very racist, very like there's a lot of other bigger fish to fry in the fashion industry, the luxury fashion industry, before the size issue comes into play. And also, I just want this in here too. I thought it was so weird that he's defending like brands. I don't know, like, what did they do for you? I thought it came off very much like he was defending like corporations and brands, and I was like, what have they done for you? So that's just a side note. But primarily what I took away from this video is his sentiment about how it's not a good way for you to use your energy to be mad about something that like it might not change. And I understand talking about it online being like, this is infuriating that I can't go shopping and find anything in my size, because I've been there many times, and it is infuriating to go shopping at a mall and not be able to find anything in your size. I remember when I was younger, I would go shopping, my friends and I would go to the mall, and like more often than not, I would be the one sitting in the dressing room giving my thoughts on what they were trying on, because I couldn't fit into anything in the store, and that felt awful. Like, that doesn't feel good. I do think we've made very big strides in just more mainstream fashion and more mainstream stores carrying more extended sizes. But I do feel like, especially within the fat activism space, I feel like they're kind of pushing the goalposts more. It's like some stores go up to like a 3-4X, which is like a 26-28, usually American women. And so now I feel like, well, now why can't it be like even bigger? I feel like there's a very wide range of sizes offered in most stores now, that if they started to make things bigger, I don't know if it would be worth it for the company, because I do feel like at that point it is becoming more and more of like a specialty size, past like a 30 or like a 28 or a 30. I could be wrong. I don't know. But there is a lot of energy put into this topic in fat acceptance spaces in particular. And a lot of times it is a lot of anger and a lot of frustration, which again, I understand, but I do think that at some point it is worth it to kind of have an introspective moment and be like, is being so angry about this worth my energy and worth my stress? And I think that's more where Leo was getting at with this video. I think the video was very weird and came out of like almost nowhere. I think another bigger creator named Fanita, who has also lost a lot of weight but is still very open about her struggles when she was plus size, made a video about how ugly plus size fashion is right now, because let's be real, like what is offered is not, like, a lot of times is not great. At least in women's. It is hard to find cute, on trend plus size clothing. And so I can totally understand that sentiment too. And Fanita and Leo are friends, so I think maybe that was like a loose response to that. I don't know. But it just came out of left field, I think, for a lot of people, and they were like, what? But I do want to talk about Leo's apology or response, because I think this is kind of like the bigger conversation. And I think this video was like a perfect example of formerly fat people who have lost a lot of weight, still having a lot of anger and resentment towards their former fat selves, which I think is like a very valid emotion to have. I have worked through it quite a bit. I have a whole video from a couple years ago about like the grieving process that comes with weight loss and how you're kind of grieving your past self. I think it's a very unique experience having been very overweight to then losing a lot of that weight, because there is a disconnect there between who you are after the weight loss and who you were pre-weight loss. Anybody can say that they're the same person, but I really don't believe that to be true. I think personality-wise, sure, but mentally you are not the same person. And I think this is a prime example. And when Leo said that his, like, the feelings and emotions surrounding his weight loss and who he was before his weight loss triggered him a lot, I think this is a great example of it, because just and I mean, anything Leo says, he says with a lot of aggression, but like the aggression in which he relayed the like, just because a brand doesn't make clothes for you, like, it's not your problem, blah, blah. Like, I think for me, I saw that, like, I saw a very triggered person. I saw a very emotionally vulnerable person when it came to that topic. And I think also it's a very good example of when fat activists talk about former fat people and how they become gym bros, and then all of a sudden they like hate fat people, or harbor very negative feelings towards fat people and fatness in general. I think because of like insecurities that they still hold within, I think this is a very good example of that. And it's a very aggressive example of that, but I think it's a very good example of that. I talk about in my video, I think, about grieving your former self, how like I look back at my former fat self and I look at how insecure she was, which, I mean, I still deal with insecurity issues, how insecure she was, how scared she was of literally anything, like trying anything. Like, yeah, outwardly I may not have been, but like inwardly I was terrified to try anything new, because I just like, I didn't have a good relationship with exercise. I didn't have a good relationship with food. I just didn't want to try anything new. And how negative my mindset was, like, navigating the world, because I took in a lot of fat activism content and I was constantly being told how much the world was against me and how unattractive I was to the world and stuff like that. Like, I went to them for positive reinforcement, and what I got back was just more insecurities, right? And I feel like even before the fat activist movement, like, that was just a common narrative around fat people in general, specifically like in media. I've been watching a lot of like early 2000s TV recently, and the just blatant hatred of fatness in those shows is incredible. Like, I never noticed that, and now I'm like, well, no wonder I had such a fucked view of myself too, like, let alone when the internet became a thing. But like, yeah. And so I think when you are fat for so long and then you lose the weight and you're able to kind of look at that part of your life in hindsight, it does trigger you. Like, it does make you sad. There's just a lot of very unique feelings that come along with it. And I started working through that in therapy, like, kind of recently, honestly, and how it affects how I view the world now still, even though I am like stronger. I feel like I want to try things. I'm not as scared maneuvering the world anymore. But still, like, those old feelings do creep in. And given how much Leo does enjoy fashion, like, I wonder if this topic in itself, like, specifically, is something that he's still very, very triggered by, very insecure about, which he said he is. But I'm wondering if it's just the fashion thing in particular also, because even though he does only wear black tank tops, which he got flamed for so much around this video, which I think is hilarious. He really only wears black tank tops and black pants. It still seems like fashion is a big deal to him. And so I wonder if it kind of always has been. And now that he has more access to it, both financially and with his size, I wonder if he looks back on his past self and just gets triggered and feels a lot of different negative feelings about that. I don't know. That's just speculation. But I think the big thing for me is how this got blown into fat phobia, which I can understand. I totally understand. Like, I don't think that Leo relayed his message in the best way that he could have, right? But I do think that it is something to think about how things that bother us about big things that like we really can't change, or we can work to change, but it's not going to be an overnight change. Like, how much energy should we put into that, you know? And like, how much energy is healthy for us to put into that? And I think it's a good conversation to start surrounding a lot of things. But like, honestly, I talk about this in regards to fat activism a lot, in that both for the people creating the content and for the people taking in the content, it's like, yes, it's nice to have that community online. Totally get that. 100%. How healthy is it to be just like steeped in that all the time? And like, I understand that for fat people and stuff, like I say this all the time, I do truly believe that fat people are treated differently and unfairly in society. And I do know that it's something that you can't always just put blinders on for. But like, when it comes to making content and when it comes to consuming content, like, how healthy is it for you to constantly be baked into that all the time? And I think when I was younger and I was learning my personal style, going back to Leo's video, I think when I was younger and I was really taking time to learn my personal style, and even now I'm kind of like, in the last couple years, I've been revamping my personal style and stuff like that. There does come a time where you have to be like, okay, this brand just isn't for me, you know, it isn't for me size wise, and it's frustrating as hell, but I'm gonna go be creative and find something elsewhere. I think that is a good mindset to have, and having these conversations about size inclusivity is important. I will not disagree with that, but I do think there does come a point where you have to be like, okay, some brands just like aren't for me, like aren't made for me. They don't want my money, and so I'm not gonna give it to them. You know, like, that's just how it is. And it sucks and it's frustrating, and I get it. Yes, it sucks ass that not every brand caters to everybody. I've reached the point now, as someone who's like a 16, 18, now I've reached the point of I'd rather give my money to a brand that actually does try to create like cute, on brand, good, like well-crafted items of clothing that goes to my size than like beg a brand or something to carry my size in the first place. And yeah, I don't think the internet's response to this was surprising by any stretch of the imagination, and I understand where the outrage came from, but I just wanted to like share my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you want that fashion history video. I'm probably going to do it anyway, because like I said, I'm a huge nerd about fashion, and I think it would be so much fun to do. But yeah, this is just my thoughts kind of off the cuff on this whole topic. Let me know what you think down below. And I'll have links also for the students down below as well. But thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to go to the link down in my description and use my code Megan55OFF for 55% off your first month. Thank you guys so much for your continued support of my channel and your support of me just needing to take a breather. And I like doing these kinds of it. Like, this is fine because this doesn't involve like a whole lot of research. I've been getting comments on like really old videos of people being like, I'm rewatching your old content waiting for you to come back. And like, that means so much to me. Like, I can't tell you how much that means to me. I'm so grateful to have you guys and this community. We hit 70,000 subscribers, and the fact that 100K is like even kind of on the horizon potentially for this year is just baffling to me. And yeah, I need you to know that I am so genuine when I'm saying this, that like, I don't take this platform for granted, and I just want you guys to know how much I appreciate you and your support of me, even when I need to take a breather for a month and you go back and watch my other videos, even if you've seen them already. Just, it means a lot. And yeah, so without getting too sappy for too much longer, just thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, drink your water, take your meds if you need them, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.